When Macro 1 first dropped, it was a game changer. The content was incredible, but now it's time for a new chapter. You see, Macro 1 wasn't making us enough money. I mean, it wasn't what the fans were wanting, and we only care about the fans. So introducing an all-new Macro. Macro 2. This is Macro improved on every single level. The graphics, the gameplay, the cuteness. You may be wondering, what's the difference between Macro 1 and Macro 2? Well, this one is wearing a brand new Macro hoodie, and he sometimes wears glasses? Huh? Maybe he can run really fast? Maybe he uses throwing knives? It's unclear. Just know that this is definitely a sequel to Macro 1, and a very necessary sequel at that. And before you start complaining, Macro 2 is coming out completely free, except for his cosmetics like the hoodie. That's going to cost money, links in the description, but they are not required to enjoy Macro 2. So try Macro 2 today. It's definitely a sequel. Overwatch 2 is finally here. Well, the PvP at least. The PvE won't be here until 2023, so, maybe I should talk about the game after the beta is over? What? This isn't a beta? This is the official launch? Okay then. Overwatch 2 is finally here. It was announced 3 years ago by Papa Jeff Kaplan, who will be missed. So everybody was hyped for it to be officially released. And what we got was Overwatch 1. It's Overwatch 1. There's some newish elements and changes, but let's not beat around the bush. It's Overwatch 1 with a new coat of paint. Now, does that mean it's a bad game? No, far from it. It's super fun and has reinvigorated my enjoyment of Overwatch. But I just don't want to look at you, the audience, and lie to your face and pretend that this game is actually a sequel. When in reality, it's not. It just isn't. Now, when the PvE is out, it will feel more like a sequel since everything about that will be brand spanking new. But until then, I'm here to discuss Overwatch 2 as presented to me on its official release date. I'll just kind of quickly re-explain it all to all the noobs out there that have never actually played the game before, and also go over all the new stuff. Overwatch 2 is a free-to-play, yes, it's free now, free-to-play class-based first-person shooter where your team of 5 battle another team of 5 to complete objectives. Yes, I said 5v5 because now you can only use one tank instead of 2. The heroes are sorted into 3 main categories. Tanks, who have a lot of health and create space and take damage for their team. Damage, they're heroes who can dish out the most DPS and are going to be the best killers. And support, which are the healers keeping the whole team alive and are still the only ones pushing the payload. Nobody wants to play healer but will happily complain if you aren't healing them. It's classic Overwatch. By the way, support heroes now all have the ability to passively heal if they don't take any damage for a short time. So they finally aren't just sitting ducks if the other healer is dead, which is great. Each character has tactical abilities on timed cooldowns and an ultimate ability that is earned over time and can be earned quicker if you damage enemies or heal teammates. Every character also has their own unique weapon that only they get to use because these heroes don't like to share. You and your team travel around the world on all these awesome maps, most of which you have already seen before because they're the same maps, they're just updated to look super different. And by super different, I mean that if the map took place during the day, then it's at night now. And if it took place at night, then it's during the day now. Pretty sick, right? But there are actually new maps, and these look so nice. One map even has the big Jesus statue, so you can pray that you won't get kicked from the servers. Fuck! The main game types are Escort, where you push a payload, Hybrid, where you capture a point, then push a payload, Control, aka King of the Hill, and now the first new game type in years, Push. This is where you force a robot to push a wall as far as he can. And we stand this robot. He's so cute. If your team pushes the robot further, your spawns will change so you are closer. But the moment your team loses control of the robot, you can be pushed all the way back to your original spawn. The winning team is the one that pushed the robot the furthest at the end of the game. And if you push it to the end, you just win. It's simple and pretty enjoyable. There are also new heroes. Sojourn is the newest damage hero who's like Soldier 76 had a laser. Junker Queen, which I've made a full video on, so you can watch that later. And Kiriko, another Shimada clan hero who's our newest support. She throws knives and paper. I will go over these characters in more detail in individual for noobs videos on them, but that's all the new heroes that we got since Echo over 2 years ago. But we should expect a ton more in future seasons of this game. Yes, I said seasons because we are no longer opening up loot boxes. We now have a battle pass full of solid cosmetics and plenty of filler in between. Classic free-to-play model. It includes these souvenir souvenirs and weapon charms, stuff we definitely asked for. But at the end of the battle pass, there is Genji's mythic skin, proving once and for all that Overwatch understands cosmetics better than Apex, because this is how you do a mythic skin. You can completely customize how this skin looks, from its color, its layout, the face. It's beautiful. Since Overwatch 2 is now free to play, there are some important things to point out. New players will not start with all the heroes unlocked, and will have to unlock all of them over time, like most other free to play shooters. Anyone who bought Overwatch 1 before June 2022, they will start with all the original cast and will even get a free Founders Pack, which includes Kiriko for free. Otherwise, if you're brand new, it's time to grind. The last big change is that a lot of the original Overwatch 1 characters have changed. Most of them have new designs, some better, some worse, and some even have whole reworks and redesigns. Not all of them are worth going over since some are super minor, but I'm going to speedrun all the big changes of these heroes. Doomfist is a tank now. He blocks bullets with his fist, but he still slams down and kills people. Orisa doesn't have a shield and instead can stab you with a spear and blocks bullets by spinning around her spear, and her ultimate sucks everyone around her and then just slams them down. Winston can now shoot lasers. Mei no longer freezes with her gun. It's more like a flamethrower now. Cassidy doesn't stun. His grenade is a bomb that does a ton of damage. Sombra can hack people while she's invisible, but the hack doesn't make enemies have no abilities. They're just weakened, which might be worse. Bastion has a hat. That's it. Okay, so he can also move around while in turret form for a short period of time, and has a grenade. And his ultimate is this.
Triple kill.
Brigitte's shield doesn't stun anymore and does more damage, and Zenyatta's kick can boop enemies off of him and off the map. There's a bunch of other minor changes, but I'm not Karq, so I'm not going to go over all of them, and you won't even notice them, so I'm just going to move on. The developers wanted to make sure that CC and stun abilities were weakened in this game because they were really unfun to play against. So expect to be stunned and knocked down a lot less.
Why do I have as much healing as on? Pretty much have as much.
So that's Overwatch 2 and all of the new things that came with it in a nutshell. Most Overwatch fans will recognize that it's just Overwatch 1.5 really, but I think new people will enjoy the way the game is designed. But this is a For Noobs video, and I want to review it, so let's talk more about this game's A lot of things that are good about Overwatch are still here. The characters are really cool and beautifully designed. It looks fantastic. It feels fantastic. Playing with your homies is a good time. And some of the changes are great. Some of the reworked characters are amazing. The rework of Orisa actually made her fun to play. And Doomfist as a tank makes sense somehow. 5v5 is nice. Not having to shoot at 2 shields all day is fantastic. And tanks feel fun to play now. Free is always a nice touch. 2 CP maps are no longer in the rotation. Although I'll miss Hanamura. Then I start remembering all the bad memories in Hanamura, and then I stop missing it. Good riddance. Push is a great addition to the game as well. It feels relatively balanced and satisfying. A lot of things that are bad about Overwatch are still here. The toxicity.
You take high. Idiots, please.
The lack of coordination. Like seriously, this game is not built to be played alone. You gotta have some homies. There's hardly any support heroes, so it makes playing support feel less diverse and not so fun at times, especially since everybody's targeting you. The game is crazy unbalanced, and with that being a crucial reason for the downfall of Overwatch 1, I hope they can balance the game properly, but I wouldn't be surprised if some characters remain OP. Like, look at Sombra. Why is she allowed to do this? The tanks are super overpowered. They are so fun to play as, but they're so awful to play against. They have so much health, so much sustain, and an insane amount of kill power. They're essentially the best DPS on your team, which probably shouldn't be the case. It makes sense that they would be stronger than everyone else on the health side, since they are alone now, but their damage has got to be toned down. It's ridiculously difficult to kill a tank now. Some redesigns are so bad or pointless, like why do this to Zarya? You just added a ponytail. Like somebody got paid for that. Also, look what they did to my boy. On the bright side, at least if you don't like Overwatch 2, you can always go back to Overwatch 1. What's that? You can't? It just completely replaced Overwatch 1? What? One of the most disappointing parts about Overwatch 2 is the fact that they got rid of their normal progression system, and the only way to get cosmetics now is by paying for them or getting free ones through the battle pass. And putting the new heroes essentially behind a paywall because yes, you could get them for free after getting to level 55 on the battle pass, but that's a lot. It's a little bit scummy because this is a game where characters can be very meta defining. Overwatch 2 has been a ton of fun to play for these last couple days. But just because I enjoyed it, it doesn't mean it gets a pass. It's not a sequel, but an update to a game that I loved before. If you loved Overwatch 1, you will enjoy this game. But if you hated Overwatch 1, you will still probably hate this game. But it is free to play, so you should really be the one to decide. Be your own judge, especially those of you out there who have never played it before. Which is crazy. I don't know how you never played this game before. But what will I be rating this glorified update? Well, I gave Overwatch 1 a 9 out of 10 before, and this is essentially the same thing, but they did try to pass this game off as a sequel and not as an expansion pack, which kind of loses it some points, and with their terrible microtransaction system that is almost pay to win. So I think an 8 is the actual score, but with an asterisk because this is essentially a re-review until the PvE comes out. But what do you think? Have you actually been able to play Overwatch 2 or are you still stuck in queue? If so, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. And before you guys ask, yes, I will be making more Overwatch content in the future, but I will not be remaking any of my previous Overwatch for Noobs videos, even the ones that are outdated like Doomfist or Bastion. If anything, they're a nice little relic of the past. Okay guys, I'm gonna go launch Macro 3 soon, so I'll catch you later. Ya noob.